Hello everybody, this is the Six Flags Line Generator documentation. I'm David Eisenbaum, and today I am presenting along with Savak Bagumian, Kevin Chow, and Seth Schroeder. So here's the table of contents for our presentation. First we have the requirements documentation, and then we have the scope statement, the scope baseline, and our additions to the assumption log that we came up with. So just a quick reminder, the Six Flags Line Generator application's goal is to improve the user's experience at the theme park by generating paths that will help users avoid long waiting times, which is the #1 complaint at Six Flags. So first we're going to go over the requirements documentation. So we identified 4 external interfaces, including the hardware interfaces, software, user, and communications interfaces. So the first we have the hardware interfaces. Our app shall run on any device capable of running Android Oreo through 11 and iOS 8 through 14. This is what the most of the population has on their mobile devices. Next, we have user interfaces. Our app shall conform to the official Six Flags application standard. Oh, just skip ahead. Okay. Next, we have the software interfaces. The Six Flags Line Generator shall transmit the length of the wait time for each ride to park guests and employees according to the data provided by the sensors. Next, we have the user interfaces. As I said before, it shall conform to the official Six Flags application standard. The initial opening of the application shall guide the user through optimizing a route and asking with a pop-up if they want to deselect any rides. So this is like a little tutorial to help the user with the app. The screen of the application must be constrained to every Android and iOS device. So here are the communication interfaces. The Six Flags Line Generator shall send a message from the manager to any number of employees, depending on the length of wait time that they shall choose to allocate them to the busy ride. The Six Flags Line Generator shall also send a notification to a manager if a ride is determined to be busy. The Six Flags Line Generator shall send a notification to a user if a ride time in their optimized route has increased by 65% when the route was initially generated. So it'll just give a heads up if there's like an increase in traffic beyond what was expected when they generated their route. Next we have the functional requirements. We have 4 main functions, which are account creation, the user selection of the date to visit, the scheduling line placement, and the park manager dashboard. So the first is account creation. So a user who is an annual ticket holder can create an account with the Six Flags Line Generator application. So there's a register function where they can verify if the user is an active pass member by checking their pass ID. There's a personal data function. Why did it just skip forward? Account creation, here we go. Personal data. Line Generator will accept the personal data such as first name, last name, and address. And also billing information. It'll prompt the user for billing information to identify their subscription methods for using the application's premium features. A Six Flags customer who is also an annual ticket holder can update and delete an account with the Six Flags Line Generator application. So we have the same functions. Personal data, they'll be able to prompt changes to their address, first name, and last name. And billing information, they can change what credit card they want to use or general payment method. And they can also delete their account with the terminate function. Next functional requirement is they can select what date they want to visit. So they can schedule at any date they want to come through within our app. So the function select will select an available time slot that is open for the registration beforehand, and accepts. It'll verify the visitation to make sure it is not exceeded that day. They can also cancel the date. They can select a different date, and they can cancel their date. So the next functional requirement is to schedule the line placement. They'll be able to look at all the park rides and schedule placement in a line to expedite the waiting process. So the placement select function will select a ride in which the user wishes to place their line. The dot select function will select an available ride for the user to place a spot in the line. The map function will allow the user to view all the rides on a map and see statistics regarding the wait time and traffic.
Oh, hush.
Why is it skipping? Okay. Okay, and the wait time, they can see the timetable of predicted wait times for specific hours. They can also cancel their placement for a ride. The select function will select an available ride for the user to place their cancellation for a spot on the line. The user will also be able to cancel a reservation to a ride through the application. The next is, this is scheduling line placement continued. So the placement menu is to view a menu. So the .time function, a time shall be a selectable feature on the menu in order to identify which time slots a user wishes to go. What the heck? Wishes to go on a ride. The .ride function will allow the user to select a ride to go to place their reservation through a menu user interface. The placement notification will let the user receive a notification for an upcoming reservation. So that a time function the time for the upcoming ride should be displayed within a notification. The user shall be able to accept and confirm they are heading to the line, and they can also reject that notification. Next is the Park Management Dashboard. A Six Flags Park Manager should be able to view and compile metrics on where customer traffic is in real time throughout the park to allocate employees properly. The first function is the dashboard view. It will present a viewable interface for a park manager. The .map will expose a map with nodes representing the flow of customer traffic throughout the park. The metrics will represent metrics through a series of graphs and data displays to show potential anomalies of traffic. And predictions will predict high areas of traffic throughout the park, and the park manager will be able to see that. This is the park management dashboard continued, so they can notify a user throughout the park. The .event notification will be an event within the park that can be communicated to users in specific areas to further improve the customer park interactivity experience. The notification will just prompt viewable notifications of events alerts from the park managers. Next, I'm going to pass it to Kevin Chow for the usability requirements.
So yes, we have identified two usability requirements. The first one is 90% of first-time users will be able to plan their optimized route with a high satisfaction rate. And the second requirement is that 100% of the park managers will be satisfied with the management of overcrowded lines, because with our app, we are reducing the normally crowded lines. Next. So for performance requirements, the Six Flags line generator will allow a total of 30,000 users for each park during any given business day. The application will download the optimized route and bring the route within 2 seconds of opening the app. 5 seconds if the user has closed the app. Next. So for human system integration requirements, the user will be able to view the ride's safety policies, the required height, or biggest drop height, and the top speed of each ride. For the logical database requirements, the system will store all user account information, which includes the user ID, their first name, their last name, password, age, their email address, and their selection of rides, which all this data will be stored in a MySQL database, and each of those users' account information listed above will be in their own respective column. For the design constraints, the system's user interface design will confirm to the official Six Flags application, and all Flutter code shall conform to the Flutter 2.0.1 standard. For the software system attributes, we identified 3 attributes, which is the availability requirements, the robustness requirements, and the security requirements. So first, we'll be addressing the availability requirements, which the Six Flags line generator will be available 1 hour prior to opening and 1 hour after the park is closed, just so we can allow customers to have more flexibility to plan ahead, or if they're staying a little bit after hours, we'll give them the flexibility to, or give them the option to still use the application. Next. The second attribute is the robustness requirements. So if the user's phone loses connection for some reason, their optimized route will still be in place. So the optimized route will be stored, and they wouldn't have to redo everything or reselect everything again. And it will show with the latest ride time still showing. Next. And last attribute is the security requirements, where all users must have an official Six Flags account. The second is that only authorized employees will have access to the allocation of staff dashboard. And the third requirement is that users will have the option to enable 2-factor authentication just for better security purposes for each user's account. Next. So now I'll be talking about the project scope statement. Next. So for the project scope statement, the Six Flags line generator will permit visitors and annual pass holders to select which activities they want to do and wish to accomplish during their visit to every visit to Six Flags Park. The purpose of this product is to provide Six Flags Park guest members the opportunity to optimize their overall waiting experience. With this release, the application will create a personalized schedule for the user to follow based on their preferences of rides, shows, and/or events and restaurants. This application is looking to substantially decrease the average total waiting times for all activities to increase Six Flags ticket sales and customer satisfaction. Next, please. Now I'll be talking about the deliverables. So the first deliverable is to construct and calculate the theme park's dimensions, just so that our app can properly reflect on the Six Flags theme park. The second deliverable is to install motion sensors at the beginning and at the end of the line of each ride. The third deliverable is to test all sensor accuracy. The goal will be met with only 99% accurate rate. The sensor testing period will factor in multiple variables such as the person's height, weight, and weather condition. The fourth deliverable is constructing a meeting with stakeholders to discuss the generated sensor testing report, which is everything that we did for the third one. The fifth deliverable is software development for our project. The sixth deliverable is the user interface development. The seventh deliverable is database development and design. The eighth deliverable is testing the software, the user interface, the database, and our security requirements that I mentioned earlier. The ninth deliverable is generating the application reports, which will meet with the stakeholders to discuss the results, just so we are both on the same page and we're both comfortable and all goals are met. And the last deliverable is successfully launching the application. So for the acceptance criteria, for acceptance criteria, our goals during is to archive, user satisfaction. Our second goal, our second goal, is for user satisfaction to be at 90% during the beta testing, and for park manager satisfaction at 95% during beta testing for allocation of staff. Next, please. For project exclusions, so this product will not have any food or drink services. It's going to be mainly based on rides and crowd control. There will be no feature that offers food or drink delivery services or restaurant reservations. No data will be collected for wait times at food or drink locations. And there will be no data collected for parking because we're just going to focus on rides and controlling the ride overcrowdedness and wait times. Next. Now I'll be passing it on to. Wait, who's talking next?
I'll talk next.
Okay, passing it on to David.
So here we have the project scope baseline. So the project scope statement is what we just went over, which is the description, deliverables, the acceptance criteria, and project exclusions. Here is our chart. So at the top we have the name of the application, and this is the top of the WBS. The next we have the management, the control accounts. So this is to integrate our scope, budget, and schedule. And everything in the green are planning packages. So these are things that need further planning, and we need to actually do it. And then the bottom, which is yellow, are the work packages. So these are big deliverables that we plan to deliver. And now I'm going to pass it to Seth for the assumption log.
Hi there, I'm doing the assumption log. So as you can see, these are our assumptions. So in the employee category, we have our first, which is park managers are trained on how to allocate. We're assuming park managers are trained on how to allocate staff to buy busy rides. And so in order to deal with that, we're adding a tutorial for park managers that walks them through our staff allocation process. So we also expect that Six Flags employees are expected to be there on the days that the park is open. So we will require all guests to download the application and direct guests to whole ticket and application. So these are technical specifications. You can see that we kind of depend on the Six Flags guests to enter their preferences on the ride. The operation depends on the total number of people in the park. Next slide, please.
That is the end. So thank you for listening, Professor Wang.